Hi, I'm John. This is my show, Sports Reckoning. So, this is Flipping Steve, right? Flipping Steve is a very well-known person in the sports card and collectibles community. And I think he's very well respected. And I would think that most people would think, if you ask him, is Flipping Steve smart? I would say that most people would say, yeah, Flipping Steve's smart, you know? It's not that he just has a collection or whatever. I think that people would look at him and they respect him on a way that they say, yeah, Flipping Steve, he's not just a guy making videos. He's actually smart, you know? He's good at what he does. And it's not just he's good at cards, because he talks about like the casino stuff. And I think you would understand that he's probably good at that stuff too. It's because he's actually smart. Right? He has some intelligence. So I don't think that there's anybody out there that would label Flipping Steve as being stupid. Right? Who would call Flipping Steve stupid? You know? Maybe me, maybe somebody like me, when I was trying to understand like I'm trying to get to the hardcore core, the roots of who these people actually are, right? So I test people and stuff, right? And maybe I'd call him stupid. And I want to test to see his response, because intelligent people respond in a different way, and they don't get all emotional, you know? Like, you don't get your panties all in a bunch and shit, right? So they don't get super over emotional and stuff. And then even though if I'm insulting him, an intelligent person can look past the insults and actually understand more of the actual context of the conversation I'm trying to have. And so, like I said, I've tested Flipping Steve, and he's shown me that he's a good guy, that he's understanding, he's willing to try and understand stuff, that he doesn't really get too emotional, and then he showed that he is smart because he has a larger understanding of like things that I've done and stuff, right? So I'm going to show you something Flippin' Steve says right here, because there's a thing about with my story being that Michael Jackson's the love child of Diana Ross and Smokey Robinson. So Flipping Steve has been coming on, he's been learning about it, but he's been hesitant to actually say, like, Diana Ross is Michael Jackson's mom. He hasn't said that yet. He hasn't actually said those words. Where it's like, he's been saying this is a good story, that he's been looking at my work and being understanding that I am doing a real investigation, that I actually have real evidence to back it up and stuff. But he's still been coming along. He's been a little bit hesitant to actually to come forth and say, you know what, I think I'm believing this stuff now. I think I'm actually believing it and stuff, right? So this was the last live stream he did. He just did this past Saturday and stuff, right? So let me play this little clip here.
Just got 3 stickers here. I think these are all Motown. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think all 3 of these stickers come from Motown. I know that there's a YouTuber out there, American Scheme. You'll be able to tell me if these all came from Motown. But these all came from the same seller, and they will all be in my next mail day video. I just got a 5.5 of the 4 tops, because my wife loves this stuff. She loves the 4 tops. She also loves the Temptations. I got this in an 8. These are all the 68 Padini Contanti and a 7.5 and a Diana Ross.
Okay, so because he's going to say something else here in a second. I was saying, but so yeah, those are all Motown bands, and it's stuff because I've done my investigation, so I know like a bunch of little stories. Like with Smokey Robinson, he would talk about, because the 4 tops originally they were called the 4 Aims, and so Smokey Robinson says that when he would go and do like talent shows or whatever, and he says, if the 4 Aims, because that's the 4 tops, he says if the 4 Aims showed up, he said you knew you were getting the best you could hope for was second place. He says because they were going to win. That's all there was to it, right? So that's like a cool little story about the 4 tops and stuff. And it's like, that's what I said. These people all had previous history with like Smokey Robinson and stuff, because he was there in the neighborhood with all these people at the time. Now Berry Gordy was a little bit older. Even though he's in the neighborhood, he doesn't have those same personal experiences that like Smokey Robinson has. You know, like I said, he was there. He would go to when they were young and doing the talent shows, and so like the 4 Aims, who would end up being the 4 tops, he said they were going to win, you know. And then so like the Temptations. Now the Temptations were a combination of a couple groups that came together, you know, guys in the neighborhood. But one of the groups that was part of the Temptations, it was called the Primes. Okay, so then you had the Primes and you had the Primettes. Okay, so the Primettes was the Supremes. Okay, that was the Supremes before they came the Supremes. They changed their name when they went to Motown and stuff. That was a thing. They changed their name and stuff, and they became the Supremes. But they were actually called the Primettes. That's the band, and so that was the Primes. And so that was the Primes ended up hooking up and joining up and making the Temptations, you know. And like one cool thing about the Temptations is I heard Smokey Robinson he says, yeah, if you were in a room with the Temptations, they like shook the walls. Their voices, he says, their voices were so powerful, it like shook the walls. It like vibrated the walls and shit, right? So like that's the cool thing is like when you hear the Smokey Robinson, this is one of the reasons why I push so hard about my story is that Smokey Robinson's still alive. And my interpretation of the Michael Jackson story can only be so good. I can only like give so much detailed explanations about the information. It's nothing compared to what the stories of what we would hear from Smokey Robinson and Diana Ross, like their actual stories and their experiences of what the Michael Jackson story entails and stuff, right? It's vastly superior and much more explanation of whatever. There would be much more better than mine, and that's why it's one of these reasons why people hear me yell and I get so angry, because you don't know I've had the experience in the Michael Jackson community, and the Michael Jackson community completely shut me out. They literally told everybody, don't listen to him, don't talk to him. And it's like, dude, what? I don't like. This is a thing that's really confused me. It's like, why can't you just watch one of my videos and give me an opinion about my work? And if I'm saying something that is completely outlandish or whatever, off the facts that I use and the evidence that I show, go ahead and tell me that no, that's not right, and tell me why. But see, what they don't know, that what they can't deal with is that I get to respond to their response. If they make a response to my video, then I get to respond to that, and they will not allow that to happen because they know that I've got information, and they know that I'm good at responding, and they know that my explanation of what's actually taking place here is really, really good. So instead of them acknowledging that I'm actually doing good work in the Michael Jackson community, instead of them acknowledging, they all said, do not talk to him. Don't talk to him. We don't talk to him. We don't comment on his page. Nobody ever says his name. And it's like, it's like, it was just as a human being, it's one of these things that's like, I don't understand how that happened. How is that occurring and stuff, right? And so that's why after I've had that experience, when I come over into the sports car community and I see the way that people react, I instantly now, because I've had this experience with how these people are, I instantly can spot like who's a fake, who's actually just trying to be. It's because they're so pathetic in their own human existence that this opportunity of being like, they think they're stars, they're television stars, they think that they're connected to the people. It gives them this closeness and connection to the rest of the world that validates their life existence and shit, right? And it's like, so those people, they're not in here trying to give good information. They're not in here trying to really help people. They're not trying to do that. They're trying to get this thing that makes them feel that they're real through their YouTube page. And I'm a YouTuber. Oh, I can with the whole world. I got my own TV show and I'm monetized. I'm legit. And it's like, it gives this weird power complex thing that's taking place and stuff, and it's just like, so it's like when I see that that's who they are, then I just start yelling at them because I spotted shit real fucking fake, how obvious they are. But like Flippin' Steve was not that way. That's what I say. That's why Flippin' Steve has looked into my story. That's why he's the one who has tolerated me, because he even came out and told me, don't yell at my friends. And what did I do? I went out and fucking yelled at all of his friends again, even harder and more aggressive and shit, right? And then he's got to the point where he just says, yeah, fuck it. You know what? He's like, that's what it is. He's like, I'm not going to support you doing that stuff, but I'm also not going to negate and respect the work of what you're doing in this Michael Jackson investigation, and he's actually like endorsing it now, right? So that's what I was like. So it gives me a lot of respect for Flippin' Steve. So so this is the part where Flippin' Steve's actually gonna say Diana Ross is Michael Jackson's mother. Okay, this is because he's been looking into my work and stuff, and he keeps seeing that he knows I've done this big investigation. I've got over 400 videos and shit, just with incredible information and stuff, and I keep coming up. I keep finding new stuff. That's what's just like overwhelming. I just can't believe that I even find new stuff constantly. And then there's a lot of other stuff that when I look into it, but it's getting to the point it's hurting my brain and shit to do this work, because the burden of what it's putting on me. It's stressing me out and shit, really hard and shit, right? That's another reason why I'm yelling at people. I'm frustrated and shit, because it's like I've done so much. I've got the evidence and stuff now, and now I'm just completely in fear that like Smokey Robinson or Diana Ross would pass away, and we're not going to get a chance to get their explanation, their real, documented life experiences. It's like that's the whole goal. We got to get that. And it's just it would be so easy for people just to do this, that it would snowball really quick, the story would explode. But even though my story has got a lot of attention, what happens is that anybody out there that's out there, when I talk about my story, you can't figure it out without me explaining it to you. This is the problem of what's going on. Without you actually researching the work of what I've done, there's no way possible that you could understand this story. That's how it is. You have to have done the research. You have to have done the investigation. Without you doing the investigation, you can say, oh, you know what, that makes sense, and I can see that, because you can understand a little bit. So you can understand, but you can't actually understand, like, how did it happen? Okay, how did this actually happen? What's the bigger picture? Like, nobody could ever explain the things in which way I've done it. Some people understand when I say it, it makes sense to them. Some people are like that. But you can't understand how it happened unless you see the investigation of what I've actually done and stuff, right? So that's what I'm saying. Flipping Steve now has been seeing this stuff of what I've done, and it's starting to get to the point where he's like, you know what, I can't, this is hard to deny this, because he's seen the work of what I've done, and it's good. And it's like, and I'm not a person out here making quality videos. I do as cheap as you can be. I got a video camera. I put the video camera off of the screen on my computer. I just come on here and talk. I don't edit anything. The only thing I can do of editing is I can clip stuff out if I want to. Like or certain times I'll do that, but I usually don't do that. I usually don't do any editing. But I can trim on the YouTube Studio. I can go there and trim stuff out. But besides that, I don't do anything else really. I don't really know how to do any editing and stuff. I do it as cheap as you can be. So I'm not like this sophisticated YouTuber, because that's another thing is what you'll get is that these people come into YouTube and create YouTube pages because they're good at editing and stuff, right? I'm none of that stuff, right? That's another part of where people have a hard time dealing with me. It's like they don't understand. It's like I'm not like that kind of YouTuber. I don't do any editing, nothing, right? But my work is what I want my work to stand alone is what it is, and it does. It does really good. So here's this part where Steve says that Diana Ross is Michael Jackson's mother.
The Supremes, Diana Ross. If you guys haven't heard, the mother of Michael Jackson. If you don't believe me, go ask John over at American Scheme, and he will give you all the info that you need on that.
See, because that's my other page. That's my Michael Jackson page, is an American Scheme. But then I do this page in the sports car community because I'm super huge into sports and stuff, right? And then Michael Jackson has a massive catalog of collectibles and shit, right? And then there's cards too, really cool cards. So it's part of this community, and the people want to say, no, we're just sports. And I still show them, okay, well, Michael Jackson did the halftime show at the Super Bowl. Diana Ross did the halftime show at the Super Bowl. Smokey Robinson was part of a big Motown Super Bowl halftime show, which featured Smokey Robinson and stuff, right? Michael Jackson made a video with Michael Jordan in it. Michael Jackson made a video with Magic Johnson in it. I showed you the Odell Beckham Jr. when he scored his touchdown in the Super Bowl. He did the moonwalk. He did his Michael Jackson dance, and he did his moonwalk. Odell Beckham actually has a tattoo of Michael Jackson on him, right? I showed you Klay Thompson at the parade when they just won the championship this year. At the parade, Klay Thompson does a Michael Jackson dance, right? And it's like, and you people are trying to act like it doesn't connect to sports. And I'm like, oh yeah, well go tell the people that are actually performing the sports, tell me that it doesn't matter to them. And you guys are acting like it does. And I say, you guys are faking shit, right? It's ridiculous, right? So here, this is like, I'll just show you like really quick, like a couple little pieces of my evidence. This is stuff, okay, this is videos from my other page, right? So this is like just a couple pieces of evidence that actually, these are really hardcore things that actually help to prove my story. So listen to this right here.
Could be part of my family.
Yes.
We have a lot of the same bone structure and a lot of skin color.
Well, Michael does now because he's had it all done. You take that as a compliment?
You cannot. I refuse you to insult Michael. He's a friend of mine.
Yeah.
I love him,
Yeah.
and I don't like people making fun of him.
No, but
Yeah, so it's like, she starts off the comment now, whose words here are more important? Diana Ross when she's speaking about Michael Jackson, or just some talk show host trying to make a joke? Who knows Michael Jackson, right? Whose words about what she's going to speak about Michael Jackson actually matters? Hers or the talk show host? What the talk show host did, he's just trying to make a little joke and stuff, right? But what he did, though, the joke is that he did acknowledge that Michael Jackson looks like Diana Ross. Because he says, oh, yeah, he could be part of your family now because he's had all these surgeries. Because that surgery joke of what he was saying is because people, like when I was young in the 80s and Michael Jackson first started having his surgeries, he instantly, like, really, really looked like Diana Ross. So people were saying that he's having surgery because he's infatuated with Diana Ross and because they had this really close relationship, right? And so they were saying, oh, he's trying to look like Diana Ross, okay? But they didn't know that she was his mother. He didn't have to really try to look like her. He looked like her. He acted, it's his mannerisms, it's everything. But so Diana Ross here, she says, he could be part of my family. And that's what I'm saying is like, how do these words ever exist? And then she just says, he could be part of my family because we have a lot of the same bone structure and our skin color's the same. Okay, bone structure? He could be part of my family because we got a lot of the same bone structure? Come on, how do those words ever come out of her mouth when she's referring to Michael Jackson? And remember, Michael Jackson's part of the Jackson family, who is an act signed to Motown, and she would know Catherine and Joe Jackson. So how insulting that is that for Diana Ross for her to give that statement? Oh, Michael will be part of my family. We got a lot of similar bone structure. It's like, what? Right? But when you hear the real story, she is Michael Jackson's actual mother, and what she was doing was leaving behind documentation like this so that somebody, like, it ended up being me. I am that one person. People have a hard time understanding that I'm just somebody who found this. They think that, oh, I must have had inside information from being close to the family, and I must have heard the secret. No, I just made a discovery. That's another part that people don't understand. It's like, dude, I made a discovery. And then I went and did the investigation based off of the hunch that I had. And then I started finding all this stuff. And I built this story now off of documented evidence that they left behind for somebody like to find, which happened to be me. People have a hard time understanding. That's like, dude, there's one person and I just happened to find this shit. This is like that movie, like The National Treasure, where they're going and doing all the searching and stuff. But this is a real one. This actually happened. This is just like that kind of story, but this is one that actually happened. So people have a hard time. They don't want to give me any credit. That's like, dude, this actually happened, and it is me, right? So they don't like me for whatever reason it is. They don't like the fact that I'm bringing forth this new information. It makes them feel inferior. It's all these things that they're in their it's their own personal psyche that they can't deal with, and then they try and act like they're going to look for any excuse to knock me down because they can't deal with it because they're weak people is the people that they are. They're not good people and shit, right? So now the big thing of what I said is that there's the two biggest pieces of information. Like that little piece from Diana Ross is, as far as one single piece of evidence, it's huge. But the other piece of information where I know that my story is true is because I've deciphered the song Billie Jean. And I've actually done the true explanation and the true understanding of the lyrics of Billie Jean, which has been misinterpreted by everybody throughout all of time, every reporter, all of them. They were all wrong. Nobody ever understood. And it's like, and I have no problem saying I did this. None of them ever could do it. But there was one person that finally did it. It was me. But you had to approach it through the lens of looking that Diana Ross is Michael Jackson's mother. Without an understanding that could have been possible, you never ever could have understood what the song Billie Jean was about. So, and that's the part where I say that since the Billie Jean song, since I have the understanding of it, now I know that Michael confessed in his song to what was actually going on. This is actually a confession, so there is no denying it for me anymore. There is no denying. The story's true. Like I've got them exposing, like Diana Ross saying that Michael could be part of her family. I've got the understanding of the song Billie Jean, which is actually a confession that Diana Ross informing Michael Jackson that she was his real mother when he's about 10, 11 years old, and he's actually living in Diana Ross's house. After the Jackson 5 moved to LA, they were staying with Diana Ross. That's when she informed him. That's what the song Billie Jean is actually about. And people say, then this is like one of those things where I say, you can't understand it unless I explain it to you. Because they say, well, then it says the kid is not my son. Okay, well, that's what the song says, because the lie has become the truth. And Michael is actually part of the Jackson family, and he's going to remain a part of the Jackson family. So when she says, I am the one, that's what happens. Diana takes Michael to the room and she tells Michael, Michael, you're the one. You're the love child of me and Smokey Robinson. Because of your birth, it spawned all these other events to happen, because it's a much bigger story of what actually happened. She's telling him, so she says, I'm the one, right? So Diana Ross tells Michael, you're the one, right? But then Diana Ross, because the line says, she says, I am the one, but the kid is not my son. So Diana embraces Michael, and then she rejects him again. And this is what Michael Jackson had to live with. This is how Michael Jackson develops this Peter Pan complex of this personality trait of this child who never wants to grow up. This is how it happens. Like, why does he end up living in Neverland and calling himself Peter Pan? It's because of this moment where, like, Diana embraces him and then she rejects him again. So now, and she says, I am the one, but the kid is not my son. The kid's not my son because Diana, like it says in the song, the lie has become the truth. So Michael actually is not her son in reality. He's actually, the lie has become the truth. Michael is a Jackson now. And he's going to remain a Jackson, and he's going to remain part of the Jackson 5. And so that's what that line means. So that's what I'm saying. You can't understand what that is unless you've understood my story and seen the investigation. Nobody could ever understand what that is. That's what that line actually means. Because people are saying, but no, it says she says I'm the one, but the kid's not my son. When I'm saying that Diana Ross is saying that she's telling Michael, but they always say, but she says the kid's not my son. I say, you don't understand what art is. You're not looking at the words properly. You don't hear it the way I hear it. You don't have an understanding of it from Michael's point of view, of what he really, his true life experience and shit, right? But then when you know the real life experience and you listen to the words of the song, it completely breaks everything down. That's what it's all about and shit, right? So this here is what's called it's a Billie Jean demo version. So this is in the Michael Jackson, when he's doing all the recordings of Billie Jean, there was these other versions that he recorded, what they call demo versions. So this is called the demo number 3. And like I said, the Billie Jean song, it's never about Michael being the kid. Like, it's never about that. Like, there's nothing where Michael's the kid. No, there's never been any interpretations of that, all right? So I came out and I said, no, what the song's actually about is by Diana Ross telling Michael that he's her son. That's what the song's actually about. Then one of the fans of my page came by and showed me, hey, look at what I found, because this is what happens. After I start explaining it to people, then they start finding stuff, right? So, like, I didn't even find this piece. Somebody else pointed this out to me, right? So I've got this on a loop here. It's going to play like 4 times. Like I said, this is in the demo version number 3, and what you're going to hear clearly is that this is the Billie Jean, and it's going to say, she says, I am her son. She's not that she's saying I am the one. It says, she says, I am her son. This is what Michael did, one of these things that he did. He was in there playing around with this stuff. He knew what he was doing. Nobody else knew what he was doing, and he put this together so that it would exist, right? So here, listen to this. You'll hear it say, she says, I am her son. She says, I am her son. That's what I keep telling you. That's what the song's actually about. And Michael Jackson actually recorded it that way and documented it, left it behind. Now listen. See? She says, I am her son. She says, I am her son. That's what I always was saying. That's what I'm saying the song's about. Then when you actually go look, you find out that Michael put that in the song too. It's the demo version, so not the version he released, but in the demo in the recording studios, he made a version where he put that in there. She says, I am her son. She says, I am her son. That's what I've been telling you. That's what the Billie Jean's actually, it's about Billie Jean actually telling Michael Jackson that he's her son. She says, I am her son. This is like super hardcore evidence and shit, right? So now let me just show you the other little thing is that, so when I was young, I had 2 collections. I had a collection of Michael Jackson stuff, and I had my sports card collection. But I ended up selling my sports card collection because I needed to get a car so I could get a job and shit, right? So it's one of these things about sports cards is that, I lost my collection because I'm a poor kid and shit, right? And the real world hit. So it's one of these things where, like, these people, they've got their collections and they got to continue into sports card collecting and stuff. Well, I had to sell my collection. And after I sold it, it was like one of those things that hurt and shit, right? So it hurt. And so that's why I don't sell anything now too. The things that I buy and stuff, I buy them. I might talk about what they could sell for and stuff, but I have no intention of selling anything. I just want to keep it all now. I don't want to ever get rid of anything because I went through that experience of selling my collection. It hurt. So I started in like 1983 and stuff because I remember in 1983 Topps was like the first stuff that I had and stuff. And then I collected. I had at least 10 Wade Boggs rookies and Tony Gwynn rookies. I had at least 10 of each of those because I had collected them and going out hunting after I had my own. And then I went out and picked them from my other friends. I'd find out they had cards and I'd take them and stuff. I would give them $1 for them and shit or whatever. But so I'd get them and stuff. But so like I said, I had a big collection. I had at least 10 Wade Boggs 83 Topps, 10 Tony Gwynn 83 Topps. I had a collection of all through the 80s and stuff, right? But then I sold it in like probably 91 or something like that. So that hurt. That hurt to lose my collection. When I think about it, it's like, that's one thing I wish I had. But so the only thing I was able to hold on to from my childhood, and people, I had to have friends hold on to this stuff. There was times when I was moving and doing stuff, and a couple times there's 2 different friends I know that actually held. I had 2 boxes, or no, I had 1 big box. I had a box of my Michael Jackson collection. And so there was 2 different times where I had 2 different friends had to hold it for me at times when I was moving and doing stuff, right? So this collection went through a journey. It's just a miracle that I even still have it and shit, right? So that's one of the things that's like to show you that this is like ironic things is that I was a Michael Jackson fan when I was a kid. These are the 2 things that I was when I was a kid. So part of like that time in my life, being a Michael Jackson fan and being a sports card collector and stuff. Like I said, but I don't have my sports card collection anymore, but I still have my Michael Jackson collection. So this is a video. Let me just show you a little piece here. This is a video on my American Scheme page. This is my video. So let me just show you a little bit of this of my collection. That's what it was like in '84. These were the things around. These were the things I collected. And I was lucky enough to be able to hold on to this stuff, so... Right, so just showing you, so I have all these old magazines. I buy all the old magazines. I have all the buttons and stuff, and I have some other stuff like the Viewmaster and the Talking Viewmaster. I've got a calendar. I got the Pepsi cans. I have my hat because I got to go to the Jackson's Victory Tour, so I got a hat and a bandana from the Jackson's Victory Tour. So I actually have my Michael Jackson collection because I was a Michael Jackson fan and shit, right? And so it's just one of these things how it's ironic how life evolves and just like when you actually just live life. And I wasn't looking to be like the person that exposed the Michael Jackson story, but it was a part of a thing that's like happened. It started at a young age for me and shit, right? That I was getting this information and I was having this experience. I had no idea that later in life that what it was going to be develop into is that it was going to develop into me being the person who breaks the story about Michael Jackson. Right? I had no idea that was going to happen. I wasn't trying to make it happen. It was just something that just happened. I happened to watch the movie. And it was because Michael Jackson died. Without him dying, this would have never have happened because there was a big thing about when he died in his will, Diana Ross was in his will. And so I had never known that when that showed me how close they were, that when Diana Ross was in his will, Michael gave all his money to his children with guardianship to Katherine Jackson. But if Katherine Jackson was unable to fulfill that role, he nominated Diana Ross to step in as that role. None of his brothers or sisters. So when I saw that in the will, it was another thing. It hit me like, wow, Diana. So I was like, damn, Diana Ross was really important to Michael, But then there was a thing at the Michael Jackson Memorial, Diana Ross didn't show up. And it was the very, very first thing before they brought Michael's casket out. When you watch the memorial, the very first thing that happened at the memorial was Smokey Robinson comes out and he starts reading a letter from Diana Ross. Okay, so like at this time, I'm not thinking Diana Ross is Michael's mother, and I sure don't know anything about the Smokey Robinson stuff. I don't know any of that stuff, but I had got a few pieces of information. I had got the information of Diana being in Michael's will, and I had got the information that Diana didn't show up to Michael's memorial, and she had wrote a letter that was read by Smokey Robinson, right? So then I started watching classic movies after Michael died because I knew Michael Jackson was a big film buff and stuff, right? So I started watching all these classic movies, and it was specifically because of Michael Jackson. So I started watching all these old movies because it like kind of gave me a connection to him being like that. I knew that he had watched a lot of these movies, so it was like a joined experience type of thing. I started watching the classic films. So then about 6 months after Michael died, the movie came on, Lady Sings the Blues, and it was a thing my mom told me to watch it, right? Because she had known that I was watching all the classic movies because I was talking to her about it, and she would be giving me information and stuff like that, right? So then she had called me because she knew I was a Michael Jackson fan, and she knew that Diana Ross was important to Michael Jackson. So she called me and told me, hey, Lady Sings the Blues is coming on tonight. So that's the thing where she must have had seen the movie too. If she didn't have that experience in her life, then she wouldn't have been able to tell me to watch the movie, that it was a good movie, right? So like all these little things that had to happen, right, that clicked into place and shit at the right moment in time. So if she doesn't call me that night and tell me watch the movie, then I don't watch it, right? Then I never get to the point where I make the discovery. But so what happened was she told me to watch it, so I was watching The Lady Sings the Blues that night. That's Diana Ross's first movie, of which she's playing the character Billie Holiday. That's the origin for the name Billie of Billie Jean, because Diana Ross is filming that movie Lady Sings the Blues at the time of where Michael's living in her house. That's how the Billie Jean, that's where the Billie comes from. It's because and that's like the first line of the song, Billie Jean. She was more like a beauty queen from a movie scene. She's more like a beauty queen, because Michael knew Diana Ross as the Supremes, as a singer. But at the time when he's living in her house, Diana's starting her film career, she's more like a beauty queen from a movie scene. And she's playing the character Billie Holiday. That's where the origins of the Billie Jean comes from. That's what I'm saying. I know it's real because I've got all this stuff backing it up now. So I watched the movie, and when I'm watching the movie, so you're dealing with a younger Diana Ross that's more about the visual, like, is what I know of Michael Jackson, being younger Michael Jackson. So that young Diana Ross in that role, her body and her mannerisms, everything is just like a lot. You really can see it when she's younger, that she looks a lot like Michael Jackson. So I was watching it, and Diana Ross was on the stage singing, and this was the thing that happened. It's like one of those things that's like, did I have a vision? What actually happened? How did this actually, I don't understand actually what happened, but it happened. This is how it actually happened. So I was watching the movie Lady Sings the Blues, and Diana Ross is up there singing, and as I'm watching it, my eyes did something weird. They started playing weird, getting a little fuzzy, but whatever it was, as Diana Ross was up there singing, I literally did not see Diana Ross, I literally saw Michael Jackson. Okay, so as I was watching it, and then, so like I said, I have all this history and knowledge and stuff, so that just happened though. Boom, all of a sudden I start seeing Michael Jackson. And so, but it's Diana Ross, but I'm seeing Michael Jackson. And so I even got up and adjusted my eyes, like, what the hell was that, right? And then I adjusted my eyes and I looked and I still saw it. Then that's what happened. When I got to that point, when that happened and I saw Michael Jackson in Diana Ross. And then I asked the question because of that, and I had all this knowledge, like I said, that she was in his will and stuff, right? And I'd known they had all this history and stuff, so that's what got me to ask the question, because if you don't ask the question, you never can get to the conclusion and the answer. So I asked the question, damn, I wonder if Diana Ross could be Michael Jackson's mom. I asked myself that question. Then I watched the rest of the movie. After the movie was over, I had a computer at that time, so I went to the computer and I started investigating. And that was it. And the investigation, that's over 10 years ago now. That's over 10 years ago I started my investigation. So now we're way beyond. I've got so much information. I've been doing this investigation for over 10 years. And it's undeniable. And I can show you the evidence now to back it up. It's not me just making speculations or whatever. Like I said, I'm to the point where I'm explaining Michael Jackson's songs. I have found the evidence. There's hardcore evidence there that they left behind. I found it. The investigation's been done. Right? To the point of where now I've encountered Flipping Steve, and Flipping Steve is to the point now where he's seeing the stuff and he's saying, look at this, Diana Ross is Michael Jackson's mom. You know, so like I asked the question, do you think Flipping Steve is stupid? I don't think anybody out there thinks Flipping Steve's stupid, and Flipping Steve is to the point where he's believing my story. There must be something to my story for Flipping Steve to be endorsing it and shit, right? Okay, so I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.